Conversion therapy. Controversial? Very. Effective? That's up for debate. But instead of trusting propaganda articles, I decided to go directly to someone who has been there, and he shared with me his true experience at conversion camps.
Yeah, there was positives and there was negatives. I would say when it comes to Exodus, like I said, it was coming upon the close. I think I went to their official last conference, and I think this was their third to last conference or something like that. And so I got the end of it, and I was not really expecting much. Like my mom, at this point, I was already going into high school. I had finished my little debacle with the best friend at the time, and that didn't work out. He just continued to reject me, and so that went nowhere. But my mom, she really wanted me to go to Exodus, and I didn't want to go because I was already in high school at this time, and I was like, I'm gonna be gay, mom, like just like accept it. But she forced me to go to this one conference. It was like in West Virginia, I think West Virginia or North Carolina, I don't remember, and somewhere around there. And I was the youngest boy in all of the conference. There was people there who were like in their 20s or 30s. I remember they asked people to stand up. Like, if you're under 20, stand up. If you're under 19, stand up. If you're under 18, stand up. And then when they said, like, if you're 17, like, stand up, I was the only one. And like this auditorium, full auditorium, I would say probably maybe like 400, 500 people. And so I was like so embarrassed. I didn't know what to do. Or like, I'm sorry, I was either like 17 or 16, or I don't even know. I think even maybe younger. I don't know how old you are when you're a freshman. Under 18. And so I would say that the positive thing that I took from the Exodus Ministries was that there is this really incredible guy. He actually gets a lot of flack. He's still doing, I would say, help in ministry. Well, ministry for LGBTQ and to help them. His name is Ricky Shillette, and he runs a ministry in Texas. He's one of the only other ministries currently that are still trying to help LGBTQ people. And I remember listening to his teaching. He talked about how one person might come to become attracted to men. And I liked it a lot. It captivated me because he presented this idea of like a manly man and then like a sensitive man. And then the sensitive like boy would grow up to like, feminine things and blah, blah, blah. And then the manly boy, he would grow up to really idolize his dad and then, maybe suffer in this area. So the guy like basically summed up my entire life on his like whiteboard. It was like he knew me without even knowing me. I was like, how does he know my life? And then these two men, they both can struggle with SSA. So it was like he had an origin or at least a psychological understanding of how attraction, sexuality works. We know that each one of us, none of us are born with a sexuality. When we come out of the womb, we like to say, I was born this way. Like we were not born that way. Like no one is born gay, straight. We're not born anything. Sexuality and your experiences with sexuality happens as we develop. When we're toddlers and all that stuff, child development. And so he kind of figured that out and he presented that. And so that was the most positive thing of the whole conference. I was like, oh my gosh, like if I ever really want to know the origins of things, or if I ever really want to understand sexuality, I don't have to believe in the lie that I was just like born this way, that it just happens to happen, that something psychological happens in our brain, whether we can help it or not help it. Because I don't believe that like you can choose to be gay. It just happens, but something psychological happens and we can kind of narrow that down. And he kind of taught on that. So I really love Ricky Shillette, love his ministry. Do I agree with everything that he does? No. He was recently targeted in the Pray the Gay Away documentary on Netflix. So I don't agree with everything, but he was a huge help to me personally. And then the negative side of the conferences were that they just like wanted us to play sports and do hiking. And it was a lot of behavioral, they wanted us to focus on behavioral changes instead of like introducing us to Jesus. And so this whole time, like, once again, I'm not having a deep understanding of like who God is through this experience. And I'm just being told, you got to act more manly, or you have to stop acting feminine. You got to, in order, like, if you can connect with guys, then you won't want to be gay anymore. So it was a lot of behavioral changes. And I didn't enjoy that. And so, yeah, those were my experiences. I was like, maybe the conversion camps or Exodus ministry, it could have resulted into something really godly and beautiful if they had just put Jesus at the center of it and helped people to encounter the living God, instead of trying to change their behaviors. And I think that was the ultimate downfall.